I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Without consistency, you'll never finish. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Just imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? I just got back from South Africa. It's a beautiful country, but there are places there with terrible poverty that need help. And Africa is just the tip of the iceberg. The Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. Louisiana needs your help. Philadelphia needs your help. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you. We really do. We need it from you young people. I mean, I'm not speaking for the rest of us up here, but I know I'm getting a little grayer. We need it from you, the young people, because remember this. You got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. What are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a course called cardiac morphogenesis. I couldn't read it, I couldn't say it, I sure couldn't pass it. So then I decided to go into pre-law, then journalism. And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. I was a 1.8 GPA. And the university very politely suggested that it might be better to take some time off. I was 20 years old. I was at my lowest point. And then one day, and I remember the exact day, March 27th, 1975, I was helping my mother in her beauty shop. My mother owned a beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. And there was this older woman who was considered one of the elders in the town. And I didn't know her personally, but I was looking in the mirror, and every time I looked at the mirror, I could see her behind me, and she was staring at me. She just kept looking at me. Every time I looked at her, she kept giving me these strange looks. So she finally took the dryer off her head and she said something I'll never forget. She said, "Young boy, I have a prophecy, a spiritual prophecy." She said, "You are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." And in the years that followed, just as that woman prophesied, I have traveled the world and I have spoken to millions of people through my movies. Millions who up till this day couldn't see me, who up till this day I couldn't see while I was talking to them, and they couldn't see me, they could only see the movie. They couldn't see the real me. But I see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. And I'm strengthened by what I see. Because taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. The chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, remember this: fall forward.
Good evening. I'm Michael Llewellyn, Board Chairman for the Urban League of Portland. This time a year ago, we got together as an Urban League family, and we celebrated like we always did. But now things are different. There are some words in our vocabulary that we aren't used to saying. Pandemic, COVID-19, coronavirus, super spreader event, and my personal favorite, safe social distancing. A lot can happen in 365 days. But through the turbulence, through the difficulty, the Urban League movement and the Urban League of Portland continues to stand tall. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Down through the years, we have honored the obvious, names you're familiar with, people who are in the media a lot. Sometimes, though, we honor those that you don't recognize as easily. But make no mistake, they're having an impact here in Portland and making a difference here in the state of Oregon. So we welcome you to our virtual Urban League of Portland Equal Opportunity Day Awards Gala.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michaela. This is Amira and Zaylin.
And we will be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. We go by the name of God Sisters. Enjoy.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. And we will sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Black
Girl, magic.
period.
Okay.
Those of you that are familiar with the Urban League movement know that it stretches back more than 100 years. For 75 years, the Urban League of Portland has made a difference when it comes to racial, social, and economic justice. That type of work is not easy. That type of work takes resources. That's why support from you as individuals has been so important down through the years. The beauty of the Urban League movement is that it combines the commitment of our CEO, Nikenge Harmon Johnson, a hardworking staff, volunteers on our board of directors, and then those that are partners and investors in the movement. Whether it's young people in education or seniors living out the golden years of their lives, the Urban League movement tries to have an impact that is wide, broad, and deep. That's what makes this event so important, because we're going to celebrate those whose mission, whose hard work aligns with who and what we are at the Urban League of Portland.
Urban Leaguers, friends, family, community members from across Oregon and Southwest Washington, I thank you so very deeply for joining us on the occasion of the Urban League's Equal Opportunity Virtual Gala. This is the very first time we've done anything like this, but 2020 has been a year of first times. And something tells me between now and the end of the year, for that matter, between now and the end of the pandemic, whenever that is at this rate, we'll have many more firsts together. But I want you to hear from me right now in this moment that I am grateful for each of you who spent time with us today who will be with us tomorrow and who've stood by the Urban League, by me and my team, and by the community we serve day after day, week after week, and for now, 75 years. This movement is powerful, it is deep, and it is valuable. So by your support, through your involvement, your engagement, and your love of the Urban League of Portland and the work we do, you are helping our community to be a better, stronger, safer, and healthier place for all of us. I want to tell you a few more things about how you can continue to be involved in our work through your dollars, through your time, and for that matter, by receiving our services. Beginning this month, the Urban League of Portland has established an Entrepreneurship Academy. I am so very proud to tell you that there are staff who have experience and dedicated hearts to serve small business owners who need a little bit more help to get where they're going during this time of emergency and transition. If you're looking for some assistance for your business or you know someone who is, reach out and touch. You know you can find us at ulpdx.org. All the links are there for you to contact my team who is ready, willing, and able to serve you right now. And beyond that, if you're a senior in our community or you have an elder who is close to your heart, who is looking for a way to be more engaged and more involved and connected, to stay healthy, to stay sharp, while we have to stay apart, call on us at the Urban League of Portland. We provide the only culturally specific senior citizens engagement program in the state of Oregon. Our mission is to serve African American elders and others right now in the way they need us most. Sometimes that means dropping off food boxes at their homes, delivering activity packs so that our crochet club can continue to crochet together, having conference calls with our seniors so they can connect with each other and have a good time even when they can't come to our senior activity center in person. If that work interests you, or if you're looking for that kind of connection, please don't hesitate to reach out and touch. Our Health and Senior Services Department is ready, willing, and able to serve you right now. What's more is our Youth and Education Department is ready, willing, and able to serve our young people at a time like this. How do we do it? We're sending nutrition boxes home and creating challenges for teams to make the meal look like the picture, to not only provide something healthy, but also something fun for our teens and for their families. Beyond that, we know that many families may have one mobile device, maybe one laptop, but there may be multiple children in a household who need to be online at the same time in order to do their lessons. And my team is reaching out to those young people to make sure they have the equipment and the support that they need right now. And y'all, let me tell you something about what's great about the situation we find ourselves facing right now. I know it sounds crazy. How can there be anything great about sitting in a pandemic the way that we are? The silver lining for me and for the Urban League of Portland is that more of you are reaching out to us. You know that you can rely upon us to fill the needs, to show up for you when and how you need us to do so. And not just when you can come to our office, but virtually, online, via phone, and sometimes in person in a safe, socially distanced manner. More and more of you are calling upon us at this time, and it makes me proud to know that you know we will do whatever it takes to serve you. To those folks in our audience who are sponsors, who are donors to the Urban League of Portland, I want you to know that without your support, all of the work that my staff has been doing to meld and to mold, to shift and to change, to serve this community now, well, I won't say it would be impossible because we do the impossible at the Urban League of Portland. But I will tell you that your dollars help us to do more than I ever thought we could do in the year of 2020. You have shown up for us. I ask that you continue to do so. And I know that many of you, like me, are ready for this year to be over. But we're not done yet. Even when we turn the page on 2020, 2021 has more challenges to greet us, has more barriers for the African American community in Oregon and Southwest Washington to overcome. With your help, with your support, with your dollars and your engagement, the Urban League of Portland will be here year after year, month after month, day after day, and hour after hour, showing up for those who need us most in ways that we can best serve them.
It's one thing for you to hear about the great work of the Urban League of Portland from folks like myself, or our CEO, or members of our staff. But it's another thing when you hear from the clients who benefit the most from the services that we deliver. Here's one of those stories.
Hello, my name is Booker Williams. I've been with the Urban League for like 5 years. They've helped me search and find jobs, and they've helped me as a single father with my daughter. I've been to other programs and stuff like that, but Urban League is the only place that feel where I'm coming from as a black man raising a young child. I would definitely advise people to support and to donate to keep this program going. And they really go all out. The staff is amazing. I love dealing with them. I'll always be a part of Urban League, no matter what.
I hope you're enjoying this show.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alonzo Chadwick, and I want to encourage you all to please continue supporting the Urban League. We know the impact the Urban League makes in our black community, so please continue to pledge your support and donations. We would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it, and I know the Urban League would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and continue to support.
In true Urban League of Portland fashion, we honor those that are making a difference here in the state of Oregon. Somebody who is influencing legislation, somebody who is making a difference as we seek to recover from the ravages of COVID-19, and that's just a couple of the things that she's doing. Our first recipient at the Urban League Equal Opportunity Awards Gala, State Representative Akasha Lawrence Spence.
Hi, my name is Akasha Lawrence Spence, State Representative, Oregon House District 36, and it is an honor to be recognized by the Urban League of Portland as a change agent. As a recipient of the Equal Opportunity Award 2020, I will continue to endeavor to be the change I would like to see in the world. One of the ways in which I was the change was during the COVID-19 pandemic that rocked our communities, especially this year. I noticed and looked at the data and saw that our communities were being disproportionately impacted through our health, but also through our businesses and our inability to go to work. I then reached out to community members like your CEO, Nkenge Harmon Johnson, and the broader community, and brought us all together to craft the Oregon Cares Fund. The Oregon Cares Fund was an historic investment in the Black community in the state of Oregon. It is a $62 million fund for Black people and families, Black businesses, Black organizations, nonprofits, including faith-based organizations. Not only that, I have been able to shepherd several youth accountability town halls, police accountability town halls, that look at how our police and our communities interact. I've also looked at how we interact with BOLI and our state finance, and have hosted workshops to that end, to really educate us and help us to gain more transparency to the political process that too often seems opaque and inaccessible. The change that I would like to see in our community is about continuing to help us build wealth. And to that end, I have been spearheading a work group for the past 5 months that's focused on cannabis equity. The Cannabis Equity Act for the 21 session would not only provide investments in our communities for education and home ownership, but real investments to help us gain access to the cannabis market and become real players who are able to build wealth, not only for ourselves, but for our community through this cannabis industry. We know that our community has been over-policed and criminalized due to the legacy cannabis market. Well, we've turned a corner and have really had a multi-billion-dollar industry that we are not benefiting from. So this Cannabis Equity Act would enable our community to not only have special licenses, but to really help with automatic expungement. We know that there have been bills in the past that have tried to get this done, but without automatic expungement, we saw that these bills were not efficacious, that only less than 200 Oregonians who were impacted by the war on drugs have been, of the 28,000, have been able to gain expungement. And it's because of a legacy of fines and fees that create large debt instruments and prevents us from being able to access the capital necessary to engage in this cannabis market. I want to continue to be a change agent because we know that our communities deserve the transformational change that will help us not only gain what has been stolen from us, the dispossession of our lands and of our wealth, but gain a new footing, gain more hope, gain a better reality and really and truly sovereignty, because that's what I'm all about. If we don't have the right to decide where we live, what we eat, and how we work, then we're not free at all. And so the change that I'd like to see in the world and the change that I continue to work towards is one that is really about true freedom, true liberty, and that's sovereignty. So again, I thank the Urban League so much for honoring me, for giving me my flowers while I can still smell them, for not waiting till I was 60. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to continue to work with all of you in community to be the change. Thank you.
This moment, this year that we are experiencing together, is like none that I've experienced before. But as a student of history and of the civil rights movement, I know that it's not unique in the history of our country, and certainly not unique in the history of the world. The fight for Black lives, for Black liberation, and for justice for all, that's the story of America. And I am honored to be a part of it. Let me tell you for a moment about how the Urban League directly connects with what you're seeing in the streets of Portland and across Oregon and Southwest Washington night after night and week after week. This year, I've had the honor of being a co-founder of the Reimagine Oregon project. I invite you to visit and learn more at reimagineoregon.com. This is a project that brings together Black leaders from across the state, policy ideas, important thoughts, and really demands on our system for what needs to happen legislatively, statutorily, in municipalities and across the state to make life better for Black folks, not next year, not next decade, not in the century to come, but right now, in 30, 60, 90 days, maybe even up to 2 years. That work is part and parcel of what the Urban League does every day. And beyond that, I hope you've heard a lot about the Oregon Cares Fund for Black Relief and Resilience. It's another project that as CEO of the Urban League of Portland, I've been honored to be a co-founder, along with an honoree tonight, Representative Akasha Lawrence Spence, my brother Jesse Beeson, and my sister Joy Elise Davis, and hundreds of Black Oregonians from across the state. Because remember, y'all, there are Black Oregonians in every county in our state. We came together and in just 9 weeks, put a policy proposal on the table and brought it to the legislature to say, right now, we need to help Black folks and Black businesses survive this pandemic in a way that the state hadn't necessarily stepped up to do. But we came together in unity to make that happen. Why am I drawing these out in this moment for you? Why are we talking about these projects that we're so excited to be a part of? Because tonight, we honor protesters. The thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of Oregonians and Washingtonians who've gathered in our communities all summer long, into the fall, and I bet you deep into the winter, to demand, to say out loud that Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Not just when we're popular and on the cover of Time magazine, not just when the mayor and city council and the governor have taken the time to publish their statements about their support of Black lives. Every single day and every single hour, Black lives matter. And the Urban League's work is part and parcel of what the protesters are telling us day after day and night after night. We do the work in our offices and behind our computers and out in the community and engaging with our clients and sitting at policy tables in legislative bodies. We've been doing that for more than 75 years. We also are known to show up on the street with our feet side by side and elbow to elbow with protesters. But let me be clear, my little organization is a powerhouse and we punch above our weight. But without the people who are in the street demanding change, insisting that we can do better for all of us, something tells me the work that me and my colleagues have built just in a few short months would not have been possible. So I am honored that we have the opportunity to showcase protesters and the power of protest in our communities, because without it, where would we be? Without it, would Black lives, Black ideas, Black organizations be on the tip of the tongues of decision makers in our communities? Well, maybe. But I can tell you for sure, y'all, that I didn't get a lot smarter in the past 60 days. I didn't become some extraordinary organizer in the past 6 months. I've been at this, and before me, my colleagues have been at this for decades and decades. But in this moment, galvanized by protesters, our community is coming together to say, yes, yes, now we hear what the Urban League has been saying. Yes, now we hear what other Black community organizers have been pushing for and fighting for, and we're gonna listen. Because there are feet in the streets in Springfield. There are feet in the streets in Monmouth. There are feet in the streets in Salem, Oregon, y'all, in Eugene, in Sisters, Oregon. There are feet in the streets. Despite the rain, despite the cold, despite the heat, despite COVID-19, we're gonna fight, we're gonna push, we're gonna support, we're going to insist that there is unity and energy and power and change for Black people in our region. So please join me in taking a look at this video that inspires me, and I hope will inspire you to do more in this moment and the next for Black lives.
I know life ain't easy. Sometimes it's damn hard. These streets ain't so breezy. Through it we made it this far. I feel I've got to cry out. My heart is filled with much doubt. Who knows? Still again I'll rise. And again I'll rise. And again I'll rise. And again I'll rise. Because the new dawn waits for no one. How many children, how many sons, how many daughters, count everyone. How many children, how many sons, how many daughters, count everyone. How many, how many, how many. Black skies, storms are coming. What's been churning out of sight? Our hearts and bodies humming. We won't stand idle for this fight. I feel the strength of my pride. I know truth is on my side. I know that again we will rise, and again we'll rise, and again we'll rise, and again we'll rise, because the new dawn waits for no one.
For a few months now, the city of Portland, the state of Oregon, has been in the news a lot. The Black Lives Matter movement sparked an entirely new level of activism like this region has never seen. Some of that activism people have tried to criticize. Others have been supportive. But there has never been a meaningful change in the history of this nation that did not have someone and others committed to seeing it through. One of our honorees tonight is one of those change agents, one of those committed individuals. Our honoree at the Urban League Equal Opportunity Awards Gala, here is Mac Smith.
First of all, I want to say thank you for this award. Being awarded as a change agent by an organization like the Urban League is huge. I humbly accept this award on behalf of all the people who have put their lives on the line. I haven't been the most courageous in the field. I haven't been the most influential behind the scenes, but I've become visible in this movement. And I think that's something that's important, is for us to be visible but also be able to keep each other safe. And the difficulty of that does not change after an election. Our goals out here are really to empower Black people to be able to determine our own destinies, but also to open up the world and be a progressive for all people. This is not just a fight for Black lives, and Black lives do matter, but there has to be a result of a protest. There has to be a goal. In order for Black lives to be valued, how can we show that, and what change can we make to make that possible? And the change that I've found to be the most immediate is to defund these police. The police eat at us on both ends. They criminalize our youth, they lock up our fathers, they assassinate our mothers in their sleep. At the same time, they take money from us as taxpayers to do this. They're paid to protect the systems that oppress us. So for that and through that, defunding of the police is the most immediate way that we as Black people can start to see the concept of liberation, determining our own destiny. So again, I thank the Urban League for recognizing the work that I'm doing. The work here is to educate and to animate the changes that we want to see through social expression, and also to bridge that gap and make it a political reality. This is not a career path. This is a moral imperative. So thank you. My name is Max Smith. I'm from New York, New York. I've been in Portland, Oregon since 1992. This is my hometown. I've been awarded with the Change Agent Award by the Urban League of Portland, and I couldn't be more honored.
Throughout this wonderful evening, we hope you don't forget to please support the Urban League of Portland. No donation is too small, and certainly no donation is too big. You can find out how to support the Urban League of Portland at our website, ulpdx.org.
My name's Gary Jones from Portland, Oregon. I got with Urban League a few years ago. They helped me get my skills, how to do job interviews, and how to write out resumes. Because they understand what a Black man goes through. Sometimes there's a lot of prejudice out there. Even going for a job, you know, you don't get hired for a job or don't get that apartment because of your skin tone. And they understand that, they work with you, they have the resources that will help you out. They will pick you up when you're down, and they will show you a path. And I'm sure, you know, people who are worse off than me can find the support if you go down there to the Urban League. They definitely will be there for you.
This would not be an Urban League of Portland event without good music. And here in Portland, Oregon, we've got some talented folks. Please join me in welcoming one that you will recognize. With his band, here's Alonzo Chadwick.
Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. And I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me back down to my knees. Whoa, there were times when I felt I wouldn't last for long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
As a child born and raised in Arkansas in the segregated South, the civil rights movement in the old days was led by men. A lot of that is depicted in our history books. Women were often in the background, but still contributors. Let's fast forward to modern times. There are strong women leading organizations all over the world, and certainly right here in this country. Our own Urban League of Portland is led by Nikenge Harmon Johnson. And the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle is led by Michelle Merriweather. There's something special when you get two leaders together and you get a chance to hear them interact. Let's take a listen to two of the most powerful women in the Pacific Northwest as part of the Urban League movement.
Michelle Merriweather, my sister CEO, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining us here at the Urban League of Portland.
It is my absolute honor. I wish we were in person though, but hugs from a distance.
Hugs back to you, my sis. Will you do me the favor of introducing yourself so all the peoples can know who you are?
Absolutely. My name is Michelle Merriweather. I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, up here, your neighbors in the Pacific Northwest.
My neighbor and my sister. Well, thank you, Michelle. Will you tell folks just a little bit about your Urban League so we can get to know you and your organization?
Here in Seattle, we have grown a lot. I've been in this role for almost 3 years. Can you believe it?
3 years?
3 years. In February will be 3 years. But a lot has happened in the last 3 years. We have close to tripled in size. We do a tremendous amount of work in closing the wealth gap, of course, like we all do. And we support those that are experiencing homelessness in a mighty, mighty way up here. We, through COVID, launched a shelter, a 24-hour shelter for young adults.
I didn't know that. Tell me about that. Wait a second.
I know. We partnered with New Hope Baptist Church in the Central District of Seattle and created a safe shelter for young adults aged 18 to 26 that are experiencing homelessness.
I'm sorry. I'm super excited because I did not know that. I try to pay attention to what's going on with the movement, especially in the Pacific Northwest, but I missed that completely. And I have to tell you that we just opened a shelter too in Portland.
No, I pay attention to.
We have a shelter where we're housing African American and Indigenous elders who are particularly at risk for COVID. Homeless elders who've been living on the streets for Lord knows how long in some cases are now able to be housed with culturally specific programming. We have a sister caterer who is providing food that is responsive to their needs and tasty. We've even got hair care and skincare products that are appropriate and desired by our Black and Indigenous elders. I am super excited to hear that you're doing something similar in Seattle. That's awesome.
Here's what I know, and I'm sure it's the same in Portland. Black folks in Seattle make up about 7% of the population, but almost 35% of those that are experiencing homelessness.
Yep. You said it. I mean, other organizations do offer services to houseless people, and that's amazing. But what we have found in Portland, frankly, not many of them serve Black folks. Exactly. And that's not because they have a different mission. It's because of all the systemic racism that takes place, even within the human services structures. So often we have found that the folks the Urban League is serving are people who've been kicked out of other programs. People who've been, it's been said, you can't be helped. You're just too difficult. You're just too angry. You're just too fill in the blank. The things that we often hear about Black folks. Then they come to us and we say, listen, auntie, we're gonna love on you till we get you housed. And then we're gonna find a pathway to getting you stabilized in the long term. There's something special to the sauce that we have, Michelle. And I am super excited to hear that y'all are doing that in Seattle. That is dope. I think you know that we started the Oregon Cares Fund here in Oregon. It's the Oregon Cares Fund for Black Relief and Resilience. It was co-founded by one of our honorees today, Representative Akasha Lawrence Spence, myself, Jesse Beeson, who is in philanthropy. He's the president of Northwest Health Foundation, and our sister Joy Elise Davis, who is the executive director of PALF, the Portland African American Leadership Forum. The four of us came together early in the summer for a similar reason that you and the sisters in Washington came together, was say, you know what, Black folks need additional resources and we need them right now. And we requested $62 million to fund the Oregon Cares Fund for Black Relief and Resilience, and we got it.
Absolutely, now's the time, and I think philanthropy will agree. Statistics say less than 2% of philanthropic dollars go directly to Black-led organizations. Meanwhile, we're on the top of every negative list and the bottom of every positive list. So philanthropy knows, as you know, well-intended as they may be, that direct, meaningful attention needs to be paid to the Black community. And we know the solutions that, you know, we need to make a difference in those that we serve. We've been doing this work for a long time. And so we need the fuel to help continue and scale the work that we're doing. And I believe that in Portland, they'll join with you.
In addition to honoring Representative Akasha Lawrence Spence, a sister member of our state House of Representatives, we're also honoring protesters, and we cannot honor all of the thousands of people individually who've been in Portland and across the region protesting in support of Black lives. But we're also honoring Max Smith, a protester, a brother who is in the streets night after night and reporting live on Twitter and sharing out and speaking truth to power all of the time. What do you want people to know about the Urban League, about the movement, about our fight for civil rights and justice in the Pacific Northwest?
One, the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle turned 90 on November 1st. 90 years we've been in this game.
75, girl.
There we go. So we are not new to this. This movement is not new. We have been working for economic parity for Black people unapologetically for a long time in the Pacific Northwest. And the work continues. And we invite everybody to be a part of this work, and we serve everybody.
That's right.
That needs our support. Black, Indigenous, white, Hispanic, Latino, we do not discriminate, but our work is created for the betterment of Black people. And when we support Black people, everybody wins.
This year, we've been called upon to do lots of different things, right?
Yeah.
To be in service of the feet in the streets, to help support folks. We've been called upon to support our community more deeply and more broadly than ever as people are experiencing illness due to the pandemic, but also job loss and working remotely and working from home and not having the tools they need to do those things. But you also have a payroll. You also have a business to run and staff to think about your own pandemic precautions. And then you're a whole person, Michelle. You've got a family and a life of your own, and there's just, imagine that, right? People don't think about that very often. You're supposed to be a machine, not a person. So I want to talk a little bit more about you and your dynamic leadership. And really, I'd love to know what drives you. And if you don't mind sharing, who are your sheroes? Who do you look to remind you to keep kicking butt and taking names, even when you're feeling a little bit tired?
Well, I think what drives me are the people that I have the privilege of doing this work with, both internally and externally, right? our CEO calls and hearing all the great work that all of y'all are doing across the country, that certainly motivates me. My family are amazing and a great support system, and they tell me all the time how proud they are of me. The fact that the folks that are on the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle team didn't bat an eye when we had to pivot and change and do work differently, but all dove in and said, how can we help? How can we support those that we serve? What else can we do? I'm grateful. I'm sure you share that sentiment. Like, I wouldn't choose to be anywhere else or do anything else but this work. And that brings me to the answer to your question of who are your sheroes. I have lots of them. You included, our sister Sadiqa included. But every time I hear that question, I immediately go to my grandmother. Both of my grandmothers raised cousins, neighbors, and there was always somebody else that wasn't necessarily related to us, but we called them cousin, and made sure that they had everything that they needed to be successful while they were taking care of their own children and grandchildren. Those are my sheroes, and I carry them with me every single day.
Michelle, thank you for sharing both of those women with us. Those are powerful stories to hear. And I think it sounds like the heart of the movement, right? That is finding a way when there is no way, not taking no for an answer and really believing that you can do the thing. That's what you do all the time. That's your job right now. So I know your grandmothers would be very proud of you. Sis, can we just talk for a minute about Boss Stacey Abrams and how she has impacted our country and what she has done to change the course of history?
Look, let me tell you, I could not be more proud of Stacey Abrams and all Black women right now. Like, let me just tell you, we have set the stage and changed the game. And now, folks, we have always been the backbone of this country, but now we are in front. Right now, people have to pay attention. Like, look what we have done. Look what Stacey has done. She delivered 800,000 registered voters for the last election, and who knows what she's going to do between now and January 5th.
It's pretty amazing. And I've seen folks talking about what she did in Georgia, but Stacey's work resonated across the country. So I consider it to be part of my job to say, oh no, that Boss Stacey is the reason that we're going to be able to get so many more things done as a movement, as the Urban League, and not only in local communities, but across the country.
Look at where we are. Look at where Black women are. We're changing the game. We're showing people now, better than we can tell them, how great and how beautiful we are and what we are capable of. We just needed to get the door open. Now it's about to be the floodgate. Stacey, Keisha, Kamala, all of them have swung open the door. Watch what happens.
That's right. Now. My sister CEO, Michelle Merriweather, I thank you so much for joining the Urban League of Portland for our virtual Equal Opportunity Gala. It's been my honor to be with you. I love you. I appreciate you. I miss you and can't wait to see you in person. Thank you, my sis.
Thank you.
As chairman of the board for the Urban League of Portland, my fellow board members and I really give the best commodity that we can, and that's our time. Lots of possessions, even money, can be replaced, but time is what makes a difference with the work of the Urban League of Portland. If you've ever been to an Urban League event at all, you've heard me say at the podium, once an Urban Leaguer, always an Urban Leaguer. I've been supportive of this movement a long time. I was chairman of this board back in the 1990s. I chaired the Urban League board in Central Florida. And when I came back to Portland in 2012, the first place I made my way to, once again, to donate time and personal resources was to the Urban League of Portland. I hope you'll join me in doing exactly that. Tonight, we thank you for sharing your time with us at the annual Urban League of Portland Equal Opportunity Gala.